Hello, namaste, good evening. I'm Tanvi Parwan, your host for this webinar. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you're all having a good time. I usually have my evening coffee at this time. I'm a coffee person. So I'm ready with my cup of coffee. Hope you all have your favorite drinks with you. And guys, this is my first webinar. Please spare me if there is any technical glitch. I'll make sure that you have a seamless experience today. So, tell us in the chat box, which place of India do you hail from? I am from Delhi and the weather here is really amazing. मैं कोशिश करती हूँ कि मैं विंटर्स में दोपहर में धूप में बैठकर अपना काम कर सकूँ और मुझे बहुत ही मजा आता है. It is my utmost pleasure to have a lot of people from different places of India today with us. Thank you everyone for joining us today. We are very, very excited to have you all with us. I, Tanvi Parwan, is your host for the webinar, and I specialize in designing skill-based integrated early years curriculum and training programs. Back in 2019, I started a group called #Teachers. During my 10th year of CS, I found out that there are two groups, a group of curriculum designers who create the curriculum and a group of teachers who implement the curriculum. Now, what happens is the two groups have very limited or not sufficient interaction with each other. So, #Teachers is a single platform that provides this space to both the groups so that they can come together, talk to each other, share their experiences, ideas, challenges, and best practices with each other. In general, we support schools and organizations to develop curriculum, teachers to provide simple and doable ideas, and parents to help them make learning very, very meaningful for their children. And we are very, very honored to host today's webinar and immensely excited to have you all with us. Now, it's time to invite our first speaker. Hi, Meenakshi. I'm very happy to have you, and we would love to hear more about your experiences.
Thank you so much, Tanvi. Hello, everyone. I'm really happy to be here and talk about such an important topic today. Myself, Meenakshi Dogra, and I am an early childhood education professional and working in this area from last 9 years. And I've worked both within an Indian context and outside India also. So in India, I worked on developing learning and developing standards for children in an Indian context, and also reviewed the early childhood education curriculum of different organizations for different organizations. And outside India, I worked with UNICEF Pacific and UNICEF Uzbekistan for developing the standards, quality standards for preschool education. And currently, I am working as an ECE consultant with UNICEF and also one of the national representatives for Asia Pacific Regional Network for Early Childhood.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Meenakshi. Now let's move on to our second speaker, Kesar Patel. Kesar, we're very, very excited to have you here with us. We would like to know more about you.
Good evening, everyone, and all the entire audience present out here. First, please accept a COVID namaste from me, right from my heart. Well, Tanvi, thank you and congratulations for this wonderful webinar that you have organized, especially for the early childhood educators and parents and curriculum designers and professionals who have joined us today. I'm an educationist. I have risen or graduated. I started from being a teacher to a coordinator, headmistress, and graduated to be a principal finally. I'm also a national award winner, and my subject for the national award was the innovations in education. So looking at that, you will be able to identify and correlate that I am a very versatile person, a very creative person. I write blogs. I am a social media influencer to a certain extent. I have a large following on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook. I have my own group known as Influential Educators, which has 300 members. And we contribute to education over there. So any of you, if you would like to join, do join Influential Educators on Facebook. Apart from that, teaching has been my passion from earlier to now. Though when I had joined this stream as a teacher, I was not that passionate because I came from a corporate background. But after a few days of joining, I really found my passion. And so here I am. After 20 years of education, speaking in front of you, ready to share my experience and hope you all benefit from it. Thank you. Thank you, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Kesar. Now let's meet our third speaker, Mosmi Sinha. Mosmi, we would love to know about you.
Hello everyone, I am Mosmi Sinha. I am the founder director of the Crayon School, which is a unique chain of preschool in India. We were the first to introduce the intentional teaching techniques because after 15 years of experience, I thought there is a need to change the curriculum which we are following in our school. That is the old curriculum which we are following, every school is following, and every child is unique. So there should be a curriculum like that which is a child-centric. And we worked on that and we introduced this intentional teaching technique in our school. So that every child should be a self-driven personality. Right? So this is what about myself. Thank you, Tanvi.
Thank you so much, Mosmi. And we also have Priyanka Jain with us. She will help us keep a close eye on all your questions. And in case you have anything specific to ask, you can write in the chat box and she'll help us answer that. Thank you, Priyanka, for joining us today.
Hi. Thank you for having me here. I'm quite excited about this. And just a little about myself. I have about 13 years of experience in education. And I have worked as a teacher educator and as a curriculum designer as well, and done a lot of whole school consultancy across India. And I believe that, experiential learning and, constructivist learning approaches are something that is that benefits students, and my expertise lies there. And I'm also working a lot on social and emotional learning and 21st century skills. And I feel that early years is something where, in India, we've ignored a lot, but it's time to, really give impetus to this foundational years. And I'm really excited to be here, and thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. So, all right. Now, let's deep dive into today's agenda. Change is inevitable and also hard. And we all know that. But what really matters right now is to accept that change. It was expected that one day education will go digital. But what was unexpected was that it will happen in such a short span of time and with so many unfavorable circumstances. We know change always brings new opportunities with some challenges. In such a hard time, our teachers are working flawlessly, and we all know it is not easy. There, of course, are challenges alongside. From my chat with some teachers lately, and the expectations that you guys shared with us, we know our biggest motive is to make our online classes super fun, super engaging, and super interesting. So, how can we do that? Let's hear from Kesar.
Okay. Thank you, Tanvi. See, when even in the physical classroom, understand the relationship between the teaching and the learning process. Okay. When is learning maximum? When is learning most effective? It will be effective when the relationship of the teacher and the child is supreme. All right. When the teacher has touched somewhere the child, that at that point of time, learning is effective. Right? Now, the same scenario has been shifted to online learning. Now, what has happened? Instead of the teacher standing right in front, now the teacher is looking, the child is able to look at the teacher somewhere in the frame. The challenge for the teacher has become risen. It has become very, very great. Why? Because it is difficult to hold the attention of a child on the screen for a long period of time. The maximum attention span of teenagers has been found to be between 8 to 10 seconds. So the early childhood children are really small, and we do expect that, yes, they will not be attentive for a long period of time. Now, as a parent, as an adult, teachers just introspect and think and give me an answer. What would you like to see on the screen? Would you like to see a very bright and happy face? Or would you like to see something which is a sore for the eyes, an eyesore? Can I have some answers in the chat box, please? Well, again, the hesitation is there to speak up, doesn't matter. I'll tell you, definitely a very pleasing and smiling face on the screen is much more attractive for a child. So the first point that you have to remember is your enthusiasm and energy level, which was earlier present in the classroom, you have to multiply it with 1,000 times. Multiply that same energy level approximately for 1,000 times, and you will be able to hold the attention of the child right on the screen. Another thing is, if you have very stimulating images on the screen, okay, if you have something which the child feels, wow, what is this? Let me think. What is this exactly? The child, you puzzle the child to an extent. What happens? The curiosity level of the child increases. Okay, and that is the main point of action that is required. You have to stimulate the child. Okay, motivate him, encourage him. You raise the curiosity level to such high extent that it is ready to burst. That is the time that you will absolutely be able to hold the children to the screen. And unless and until you hold the attention, you will not be able to deliver what exactly you are trying to teach. Online learning, most of it right now has been related to only the lesson which you are teaching in the class, you are teaching through the screen. Stop that. Don't do it. Video is one way which is very effective even for early childhood learners. Now, what video? Either you show the video on the screen, that is also can be done. But micro lectures through a video is very, very useful as far as early childhood education, early childhood learners is concerned. Now, what do you do? Apart from showing a video when you are teaching, you arouse, keep their interests aroused before that. Just post a video on WhatsApp or whichever medium you have earlier that the child sees, where you are saying you have worn a joker cap, or you have some props in your hand, or you have some puppets in your hand, and just good morning, I'll see you today at 10 a.m. in this class. Send that video prior to the child comes online for the class. And look at the difference. Look at the curiosity. It definitely, if English is not the language which you are able to pass through, of course Hindi can be there. But make these micro videos and send them before your class, after your class. Just a hi, hello gesture, and see the difference in your class. Thank you, Tanvi.
Those were some really interesting strategies, Kesar. Thank you so much. Mosmi,
Yeah.
so what do you think we can do? Would you like to add some more points here?
What the challenges which teachers are really facing is sometimes it happens the conversation is zero from the kids' side, right? So what the teacher should do, they should have the continuous conversation with the child. If child is not responding, then also the teacher should continuously take his or her name and ask the questions. And if she makes different kind of faces seeing the child, then again the child will definitely going to respond her. Right? If you are saying, okay, if you are feeling dull, let us do some stretching exercise. Let's hands up, hands down, stretch our hands. then you can say that let's do some breathing exercise or face yoga. Teacher can use like this, okay, blow your cheeks, so the kid will look like, and then blow it out. So the child will feel okay, the teacher is conversing with us, and let us talk to the teacher and let's have fun. So these kind of activities makes them active in the class, and they will not feel any dull moment in the class. So these are the points which teachers can follow during the online classes.
Thank you so much, Mosmi. Those were some really realistic and relatable points. So we understand that there are many strategies that we can use to make our online classes engaging and interesting. Meenakshi, we would like to know from you, how can we make sure that children are also participating and responding actively in these classes? And it is not just the teachers who are talking.
Yeah, sure. Thank you so much, Tanvi, for pointing that out, that how we can, ensure whether the children are actually, they're participating. So what is important here is to understand, what they need. Okay. And especially during this COVID situation, it's really very important to tap on their feelings, what they are feeling, and, to ensure that, teachers, they use positive words, प्रेजेस एंड उन्हें किसी तरीके से मोटिवेट करना, ठीक है। तो वो बहुत बहुत जरूरी है इस समय के टाइम पे, जब हमें पता है कि ज्यादातर बच्चे घर पर हैं और एक बहुत ही अलग सा एनवायरनमेंट क्रिएट हो गया है। तो इस सिचुएशन में बहुत जरूरी है कि हम कुछ पॉजिटिव चीजों को एम्फसाइज करें और इनकॉर्पोरेट करें करिकुलम में, जब हम बच्चों के साथ ऐसी एक्टिविटीज करवाते हैं। तो उनकी फीलिंग्स के बारे में जानना, उनके इमोशंस के बारे में जानना, जैसे कि हो सकता है कि रोज जब भी हम ऑनलाइन क्लासेस बच्चे के साथ शुरू कर रहे हैं जिसमें केयर गिवर्स भी इन्वॉल्व हैं, तो हम उनसे ये पूछें कि आज आपने क्या पॉजिटिव आपको लगा, पूरे दिन में आप ने क्या पॉजिटिव किया, कल आपने क्या किया था, कुछ पॉजिटिव बताओ। तो इस पूरे उसमें कुछ पॉजिटिव देखने को मिलेगा इस पूरे ऐसा सिचुएशन में, जहाँ क्योंकि अभी हमें सब जो है when we are looking outside, we are looking, okay, everything is, like न्यूज में इस तरीके की न्यूज आ रही है, बाहर देखने को नहीं हो रहा है, बाहर नहीं जा पा रहे हैं, तो सब कुछ नेगेटिव लग रहा है। तो आई थिंक इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू कीप इट पॉजिटिव, especially for children. Then only we can ensure that the children are actually participating. Okay. And I think the second most important thing is, like bringing parents into this, and encouraging their participation, because especially during early years, it's very very important to early years, and especially during COVID, it's very very important to encourage the participation of parents right now, because they are the teacher. I mean, they have become the teachers right now, and they're spending a lot of their time with their children at home. So it's very important कि हम parents को हर तरीके से इन्वॉल्व करें, ताकि वह एक्टिविटीज जो है अपने बच्चों के साथ घर पर करवा सके। उससे और ज्यादा इन्वॉल्वमेंट बढ़ेगा बच्चों का, और उससे उन्हें और एनकरेजमेंट मिलेगा। तो पेरेंट्स के इन्वॉल्वमेंट को इंश्योर करने के लिए बहुत सारी ऐसी चीजें हैं जो कि टीचर्स के लेवल पर करी जा सकती हैं। जैसे कि एक दो चीजें हो गई कि अगर हम पेरेंट्स को ये समझाएं कि आप जो है अपना रूटीन, डेली रूटीन कैसे बना सकते हैं, कैसा आप अपने पूरे दिन को शेड्यूल कर सकते हैं, जिसमें हम लर्निंग को भी एक स्पेस दें और हम बाकी और एक्टिविटीज को भी स्पेस दें। तो एक डेली रूटीन सेटअप करना बहुत जरूरी है, क्योंकि जब तक हमारे स्कूल्स खुले थे, लॉकडाउन नहीं हुआ था, स्कूल्स बंद नहीं थे, एक रूटीन चल रहा था कि सुबह उठना है, ब्रश करना है, नहाना है, स्कूल जाना है, फिर वापस आना है, काम करना है, खेलना है, सब कुछ करना है। तो वो कहीं ना कहीं रूटीन जो है बिगड़ गया है, डिसरप्ट हो गया है। So it's very important to maintain that routine, and I think teachers can help them to schedule that. Okay, and the second thing which I can think about is, like पेरेंट्स को ये अगर हम थोड़ा ये बताएं कि वो अपना स्ट्रेस लेवल कैसे मैनेज कर सकते हैं, बिकॉज दे आर ऑल्सो लाइक राइट नाउ सिचुएशन ऐसा है, क्योंकि वो वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम, देयर लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर, अपने काम का भी बहुत सारा प्रेशर है। तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इफ टीचर्स कैन काइंड ऑफ सपोर्ट देम कि वो अपना जो है स्ट्रेस लेवल कैसे कम कर सकते हैं। आई थिंक क्योंकि जब पेरेंट्स खुश होंगे तो बच्चों को भी वो लर्निंग एनवायरनमेंट प्रोवाइड कर पाएंगे। तो इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि लाइक इफ यू कैन like work with parents also while working with children directly.
काफी दिलचस्प बातें हैं जो भी केसर और मीनाक्षी ने हमें बताई हैं, और कहीं ना कहीं मुझे ये लगता है ये ऐसे टिप्स हैं जो बहुत इजी है, बहुत सिंपल है, और जो हर एक टीचर अपने क्लासरूम में बहुत ही आराम से कर सकते हैं। और इवन फॉर पेरेंट्स दे आर नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट, दे आर नॉट टू टाइम कंज्यूमिंग। तो हमने जाना है कि what can teachers do to make their classes really engaging, and how can we make sure that the children are also participating. Now, if we see during when the classrooms were physical, so it was easier to have experiential kind of understanding, experiential learning in those physical classrooms. How is that possible in online education? You would like to know from you more.
See, in online you can assess the child. If the child is in middle school or the high school, then the assessment is still possible. You can take the online exams and we can assess the child has learned or not. But for the preschoolers, it's very difficult, as child जो बच्चे play group या pre nursery में है, they will not be able to write the question answers and you can assess them, or the teacher can assess them कि okay इसको सब कुछ आता है. But apart from this, if we continuously interact with the child, interaction with the parents is very important in this also. Ki, okay, if we have teach this to the child, you can ask the parents how he has responded in the at home after school, what he has told you. If a child is learning a rhyme with the teacher and after finishing the class, if he is able to show that rhyme or tell that concept to the parents, that will be very easy to assess that yes, my child has learned something, right? Then continuous revision is very important in the classes, so that if the teacher is taking revision before starting the regular class, 10 minutes before, if the teacher is taking the revision, okay, kal humne kya padha tha, if the child is able to revise those things, if he is able to recognize ki, okay, yesterday my teacher has told me about a story which is on elephant. So if you have shown some pictures to him and he is able to recognize, okay, this is the elephant, and that my teacher has told me this is of black color and he is too big, so then you can access, yeah, he is understanding what you are teaching. In this way, for the preschooler, we can do it is very easy.
I think yes, revision is actually very important and something that should and must be done in each and every class. So, Kesar, how do you think we can make the whole online experience experiential in nature? How can we make sure that we are having hands-on activities in our online classes? How is that possible?
Well, Tanvi, it is a bit difficult, but it can be definitely made possible by the teachers. Okay. How we can take up experiential learning is if the teachers are aware about a concept known as the flipped classroom. Okay. Now, these small children are not able to do anything on their own. Obviously, experiential learning will definitely mean involving of the parents also at the same time. But still, using objects like sand or stone, suppose if that's difficult for the parents to obtain, they can have rajma seeds or tur dal. Generally, I avoid using food grains of any sort in teaching. But since the situation is such, they can use that. So when even the feeling of it, how big or small is the dal or the rajma, just, we often give them, for big and small concept, we give them pictures. Generally, it's a smaller animal along with an elephant to show that that is big and this is small. Give them these type of objects at home, which are child friendly, which are absolutely harmless for them. And see, color combinations can be brought in. Patterns can be brought in. size can be brought in. So many concepts can be brought in and taught with just these very simple objects available at home. And this is the right time to introduce all these concepts to the children using the objects available at home. Because what happens is, often the child is so involved in his own mindset or his own questions that he doesn't observe really what is there in his house. So the parents can pick it up, bring it in front of them, use poster colors, color water, put water in different bowls and color it and use it for different purposes. Even if you just ask the child to take, let's say, a plate, pour water once, see how the or where the water is flowing, how it is flowing. Now take milk and pour and see how it is flowing. Now take oil and pour and see how it is flowing. Now these type of, what happens is the child actually gets used to these products which he'll not be exposed to otherwise. So these are the best methods which can be used as experiential learning rather than projects. And then, as I was talking, flipped classroom is a really good digital tool which can be used. But the teachers should know how to use flipped classroom very well in the class. It can be used with the early years learners also. Okay. Now, flipped classroom is that instead of the teacher teaching, the child is expected to teach or speak about whatever is shown without the teacher without the teacher being introducing the concept in any manner. Now, what happens automatically? The child is focused towards, because the child doesn't know that I'm teaching to the or the teacher over here. You just show the picture, and even if you say, define this. So like the other day I was saying, if there's a totally different or a unique sort of a picture where the giraffe is there and mother giraffe and the baby giraffe on top of the mother giraffe. Now it looks quite unfamiliar. It's a totally unique concept. It has humor into it. A child will never see such a picture anywhere. So automatically the stimulants are aroused, the curiosity is aroused. Now relate that picture to the daily life where the child has seen that. Automatically, immediately the child will say, my dad acts as my horse or whatever, and I go over it, and similar thing is happening. So the more relatable, the better. And read about flipped classroom teachers, if you can, and use it in your classrooms. It is very effective, very, very effective. So that's it, Tanvi. That's how you can make the classroom learning more experiential for the children.
I think absolutely. The split classroom is something that really works in the classroom. And it's one strategy, I guess, where you really don't have to think whether the student is in front of you, physically present, or is there with you online. Thank you so much, Kesar, for bringing that up. So, Meenakshi, we would like to know from you, how can we make sure that there is holistic development happening in the children through online classes? What kind of tips or strategies can teachers use?
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Tanvi, for this question. I think to understand whether the child, whether the content which you are delivering through online mediums, whether that is really supporting the children holistically or not, it's very important to keep in mind the developmental milestones of children across different developmental domains. So wherever you are planning your content, the online content for delivering activities to the children, it's very important to keep the developmental milestones and what a child can do, or what we can expect from a child at a particular age group. So the developmentally appropriate, the concepts is very important to keep in mind while developing the content. And the second thing is to keep in mind the diversity in the content. Diversity in terms of, for example, like during early years, we say that, we should tell a lot of stories to children, and they like stories. Okay, so it's very important to include storytelling when you are, delivering the content. So maybe, one session on stories where you talk about different, types of stories. And especially during pandemic, and we know that stories can really help in healing and as a power of healing and can be used for the social emotional development of children. So it's very important to keep that the components like storytelling, free conversations, जहाँ पर हम बच्चे को यह स्पेस दे रहे हैं कि वह जो भी फील कर रहा है या जो भी चीज के बारे में बताना चाहता है, the child can share freely. Okay, so free conversations can help in expressing and will also support the social emotional development of the child. And apart from that, I think the activities where the child is getting like as Kesar and Mosme also mentioned that giving the concrete experiences to the children. And that concrete experiences are very, very important for encouraging the learning by doing कॉन्सेप्ट जो हम अर्ली इयर्स में बात करते हैं कि जब बच्चे खुद ब खुद करेंगे तब बच्चे ज्यादा अच्छे से सीखेंगे. तो वो खुद ब खुद करने के लिए इट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू काइंड ऑफ एनकरेज द यूज ऑफ डेली रूटीन एक्टिविटी. Okay, use of daily routine activities where you can talk about different concepts. For example, like केसर जी ने बहुत सारे एग्जाम्पल्स दिए कि हो सकते हैं. एक जैसे एग्जाम्पल हो गया कि लाइक कुकिंग के टाइम पे इफ यू आर गिविंग इफ लाइक आलू है और लेट्स से कोई और सब्जी है, तो यू कैन ask your child to sort the vegetables, different types of vegetables, maybe based on their color or the concept of color and size and all those things. So these are the different concepts which we can kind of like include during our daily routine activities. So that also helps children to those activities can also support the cognitive development of children. बच्चे किस तरीके से रीजनिंग करेंगे, सॉर्टिंग करेंगे, क्लासिफाई करेंगे कि शेप के अकॉर्डिंग, साइज के अकॉर्डिंग, कलर्स के अकॉर्डिंग हम कैसे अलग अलग कर सकते हैं. तो ये कुछ चीजें हैं कि जो मुझे लगता है कि अगर हम डिफरेंट कॉन्सेप्ट्स को बच्चों के डेवलपमेंटल डोमेन्स के हिसाब से अगर अपने कंटेंट को मैप करेंगे और देखेंगे कि सारे डोमेन्स को हम केटर कर रहे हैं, तो हम बहुत होलिस्टिकली ये इंश्योर कर पाएंगे कि जो हमारा कंटेंट है वो बच्चों की सारे एरियाज में, सारे डेवलपमेंटल डोमेन्स के एरियाज में बच्चे को वो अपॉर्चुनिटी मिल रहा है.
Tanvi, can I just intervene for 1 minute, please?
Yes, absolutely.
See, Meenakshi ने मैं थोड़ा सा हिंदी में बोलने की कोशिश करती हूँ. My Hindi is not good, like as good as Meenakshi spoke in such a fluent and graceful manner. It was really nice listening to you, Meenakshi, in Hindi. तो मीनाक्षी ने जो बात कही है, वो एक बात जो उन्होंने कही, एक टाइम स्केड्यूल बनाने की. ये टाइम स्केड्यूल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है फॉर द टीचर्स एज वेल एज द पेरेंट्स. बहुत ही अच्छा पॉइंट उठाया है मीनाक्षी ने और इसमें बहुत ज्यादा वेट है. इट हैज अ लॉट ऑफ वेट एंड डेप्थ टू इट बिकॉज पैंडेमिक में स्पेशली ये हुआ है कि सिंस पेरेंट्स वर वर्किंग फ्रॉम होम, देयर most of the times even switching on the screens was not important for them. Just logging in was important at the right time. So most of the parents had dropped their schedules of getting up, waking up early, whatever it was, like getting ready, breakfast, praying or exercising, and then leaving for home. Most of them, what they started doing was they started waking up very late because they knew कि अगर 9 बजे भी लॉग इन करना है तो 8:30 बजे भी उठ के ब्रश करके एक कप चाय बना के साथ में बैठा जा सकता है. लॉग इन हो जाएगा, काम भी होता रहेगा, घर का काम भी होता रहेगा. But what happened was all this was creating a lot of stress on the mind because the mind was not ready to do what earlier it was ready. अगर आप 5:30 बजे उठते हैं और 9 बजे काम चालू करते हैं, आपके माइंड को एक रिलैक्स होने में बहुत टाइम लग जाता है, टाइम मिल जाता है और उस वजह से आपका काम अच्छी तरीके से हो पाता है, जो पैंडेमिक में पेरेंट्स ने छोड़ दिया था. एंड इट क्रिएटेड अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम. सो इट्स माय अर्नेस्ट रिक्वेस्ट टू द टीचर्स एज वेल एज पेरेंट्स that please, what Meenakshi is saying, understand, get back to your own schedule, whether you are working from home or you're not working from home. It will help you in many other wishes because your time will totally get organized. That's it, Tanvi. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kesar, and thank you so much, Meenakshi. I think what you are trying to bring out is very, very pertinent. Routine और rules ये बहुत ही जरूरी होते हैं किसी भी क्लासरूम को बहुत एफर्टलेसली चलाने के लिए. अगर हम इन रूल्स और रूटीन्स को बहुत अच्छी तरीके से बच्चों के साथ भी उनको बताकर अपने क्लासेस को चला सकें, तो मेरे हिसाब से क्लासेस काफी इंगेजिंग और इंटरेस्टिंग अपने आप बन जाती है, क्योंकि बच्चों को पता होता है व्हाट इज गोइंग टू कम नेक्स्ट। तो मौसमी, हम आपसे ये जानना चाहेंगे कि हम इस टाइप से रूल्स और रूटीन ऑनलाइन क्लासेस में किस तरीके से बना सकते हैं। हाउ कैन वी मेक श्योर दैट चिल्ड्रन आल्सो अंडरस्टैंड, चिल्ड्रन एज यंग एज 3 or 4 year old, when they are in the classroom it's easier to explain them things, but online हम ये कैसे मार्क कर सकते हैं कि बच्चे ये बातें समझ सकें।
सबसे पहले तो तन्वी मैं ये बोलना चाहूंगी कि अगर whether it's a teacher or a parent, they should create a proper learning space, right? अगर टीचर जहाँ पे भी you are creating कि okay I will take the class from this area of my house, so आपका जो backdrop होता है that should be very very attractive for the child. जब बच्चे क्लास में एंटर होते हैं तो they first see कि okay what my teacher is doing. If you are smiling and you are saying hello, how are you, so they will also reply in the same manner. They will also reply to the teacher, right? And then they will see ki what's the background of a teacher. Sometimes what we do usually, I ask my teachers to create something through art and craft. Whatever, if you are going to teach, like if you are going to teach Anarka today, so make a big Anar. It can be a 3D model and you can paste at your behind. So that will be very attractive for the child कि okay आज मुझे मैम के पीछे अनार दिखा. It's totally relative to the class कि आज आप क्या पढ़ाने जा रहे हो, उससे related आप अपना background set कर सकते हैं. If you are telling a story about a jungle, you can create a jungle theme and you can paste it at your behind. So these things are very easy to do for a teacher, because in preschool or in school teachers are very good in art and craft. So they can easily prepare this kind of thing and they can present it on the screen to the child. In the same manner, if the child is taking class online, so parents should also create a learning space for them. So there should be a proper table and a chair. It's not like that कि एक table उनको आपने bed पे दे दी and child is sitting over there. You are also sitting with a cup of tea and child is taking the class. Child will not at all interested to listen what the teacher is saying. Right? So you have to create a proper learning space for them. So that is very, very important. Then whether it's a parent or a teacher, you should follow a proper curriculum which a school has given to you. Okay, for this month, this is the curriculum which you are going to cover up. So don't rush on the online classes. We are requesting to the teachers also and to the parents that we are not in a hurry to complete our course for this year. So don't rush. Let it be in a slow process, but the child should learn the thing which we are teaching. Maybe हो सकता है कि parents will expect कि okay इस 6 महीने में हमारा बेटा A to Z सीख जाए, but it's not possible कि हर बच्चा वो सीख जाए. Let the teacher should also follow the same pattern कि slowly and gradually we will teach them. So these are the very important things. Then if a child is at home, when a parent is teaching his kid, so there should be आप उनको थोड़ा सा चूज करने का मौका दो बच्चों को. मे भी होता है कि कई बार बच्चे बहुत छोटे हैं, they are not in a mood to learn Hindi today. They are in a mood to do, okay, I will do a rhyme or I will do maths, but I will not write Hindi today. So let it be like that कि okay ठीक है, आज आपका मन नहीं है हिंदी पढ़ने का, हम आज हिंदी नहीं पढ़ेंगे, हम आज राइम करेंगे, लेकिन आपको कल हिंदी पढ़ना पड़ेगा. तो you are also keeping your thought in front of that and child will agree कि ठीक है, अगर आपने उसकी बात मानी है तो he will also in that mood कि ठीक है, आज मैंने मानी है, मुझे कल करना है. So in this way we can teach the child in very holistic way.
That is very, very interesting. और I think what you said Mosmi, कि हमें एक learning space बनाना बहुत जरूरी है.
Yes.
That is really important because ये learning space हमें classroom में मिल जाया करती थी.
Right.
But when it comes to online education, that is up to the parents to create that kind of learning space for kids. And that I have had a lot of chats with different parents, and a lot of parents have told me that when they have created these learning spaces, it has made a lot of difference. Huge difference in the child's learning abilities as well. The child really looks forward to be in that space, to do something, even if that is repetitive, even if that child knows it, but the child loves being in his own space, because that gives the child an ownership. I think that's very interesting that you brought up. So, Kesar, हम ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन एक बहुत ही नया तरीका है अब एजुकेशन का. हम क्लासरूम से काफी अलग आ गए हैं और शायद आगे भी, इवन इन फ्यूचर, we will keep online education and online classes with us. We are not going to chuck it away. So what do you think could be some new opportunities for educators and professionals in this arena of digital education?
Well, Tanvi, a very good question. In this age of social media, internet, technology, tech savvy, and what all, so many companies coming in with coding, where the teachers can earn extra, not only learn, but they can earn extra. So, see, what had happened was earlier, I mean last year, teachers were not used to technology. Okay, now they were practically pushed into the ocean known as the technology. Most of them understood and developed their own, found out and developed a niche for using those tools online. Some are very ahead in this race. They got used to using whatever it was, adapting to teaching and using it in their online classrooms. Some are still yet to pick up. Just give me 1 minute. Now, the point is, what opportunities are available for the educators? See, social media, all the educators just use their mobile screens to scroll and check the notifications that are there in Facebook, WhatsApp, or LinkedIn, right? Twitter, most of them do not use. They don't know what Twitter is and they are not using it. Now, get on the same social media platforms can be used and it's a great opportunity for the educators out there. Rather than just checking out the pictures and the posts by the friends and the family, do that. I'm not saying don't do it. Explore the educational benefits that are available over there. Connect with other teachers abroad, internationally. Connect with teachers across India. Find out what challenges they are facing and how you can do it. I have been strongly promoting blogging amongst the teachers. Every teacher is doing such a lot of things in this pandemic. They've done such a lot of things that each experience is unique. Share it, create your own blogs. You have websites where free blogs are available. Blogspot.com by Google is one. You don't need to go anywhere else. Get onto it, log in and start blogging. Start expressing your ideas. Writing, I'm telling you, blogging is one such thing which will help you a lot. Second, build a social media influence online. I do not mean to say personal social media following. I mean professional. Get into the groups where teachers are there, parents are there, professionals are there, people related to your thought process or your creativity or your passion are there. Engage, write, discuss, get to know their views, and you also post your views. Create your own social media presence, but on professional grounds. Do it, teachers. It is high time that you did it. The world which is coming in future is a world of numbers. The entire world is going to run on data. So be a part of that data. Collect your own social media gathering, influence, give your thoughts, write out your thoughts in the form of blogs if you want to. If you're not comfortable, download Canva, put your thoughts in the form of Canva posts, go to Instagram and post it. See how other teachers are developing. Read the blogs written by the teachers, by the educators, by the Western educators. I've got some wonderful blog names like kindermama.com and simplykinder.com. Wonderful kindergarten sites where you get to read articles. Apart from reading articles from only teachers, read articles of professors. See, online teaching was already existing since past 10 years. So who were the first people who got into online teaching? What are they doing? They are building their own courses. Similarly, a teacher can build her own courses for the other teachers, for the parents, for so many other things, and you can start working. So please get onto social media and explore. But keep in mind, explore it professionally. If you want to grow professionally, you keep a professional mindset and you explore it. The world is at your feet. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Even when I work, I refer to a lot of Western websites, as you mentioned, Keshav. And I think what you said is very, very right, because all these Western people, all these people abroad, they are very habitual of writing. And this is something that our teachers can very easily and very well do. Our teachers,
I think, Tanvi, even like, see, making a website of your own takes around 15 to 20,000 rupees. So if that is expensive for you, catch hold of 5 people or catch hold of 10 people and put in a website. Start a website. Start a website just to put in your ideas, your pictures, your teaching activities, your lesson plans. Okay, do that. It is required now. Indian teachers hesitate to write. They really hesitate to write, and that is one of the major problems which is pulling them back, which is not letting them come forward, rather, I should say. So that is something I feel that blogging is beautiful, wonderful. Express your ideas. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Keshav, for bringing that up. Guys, I would request you to keep writing your questions in the chat, in the comment box, so that we can take that up very, very shortly. So, mostly Keshav just told us what could be some really interesting opportunities for educators or professionals in this digital education arena. What do you think is the future of online education going forward? Yeah. And what challenges do you see in future in this space?
See, in future, the challenges which we are still facing, or maybe we also face in the future, are for the preschoolers, I can say, the kids are too young. So their screen time has increased due to this online classes. Even parents are not able to sit with the child for the whole duration of time when the classes are going on, because they themselves have their own work. Right. Then physical interaction is zero with the teacher or with the friends. Physical interaction is zero in this case. But if we can see, the concept of traditional education has been changed radically in the last couple of years. Right. So being physically present in a classroom is not needed now, because you can have your education, you can have your good quality education whenever or from wherever you want. Sitting at home, it is very easy to have that thing. But for the preschoolers, I can say that virtual learning is still not a complete solution. Right? Online classes will always be optional in case of, you can say, preschoolers, or even for the middle school or high school also. If a child has taken the science stream, suppose, so practical classes are never can be conducted online. If we want to have their chemistry practical class or a physics practical class, it's not possible that we conduct it online. So ultimately, we have to follow that school pattern, and decide that we have to, side by side, we have to go with the online also. Right? So in future, what I can see is rather than online classes, the virtual things will be more focused. Right? Like we can be more dependent on talking pens have been introduced in some of the schools. Then there are smart boards. Then what you can say, we can digitalize in the case, there will be increased focus on the digital learning rather than the online classes. because online classes is not the option, not the long-term option for the schoolers. It can be go for the higher education, but for the preschoolers or for middle school, as I told you, we have to move on for the physical classes also. Right. So in this way, I can say that. Thank you.
Absolutely. I think blended learning is what we are going to.
Blended learning is important.
Yeah. Yes. And I think schools are going to use that very often from now on. So we have talked about how online education is important and how going forward we are not going to do away with online education. Meenakshi, we would like to know from you. ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन के लिए बहुत सारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर और बहुत सारे रिसोर्सेज की जरूरत पड़ती है. फॉर एग्जांपल इंटरनेट, लैपटॉप और फोन और other things, silent space. For people who do not have these kind of infrastructure or do not have the resources, how do you think can they benefit from digital learning, or how do you think digital learning can help them?
Yeah, sure, Rajni. I think it's very important to understand why we are talking about online learning or digital learning. Because we want our children to, we want to ensure that our children's learning continue. Okay, so there should not be any gap. Okay, and that's why we are using different, mediums, and online is one of the most common and popular medium. So I think it's very important because our objective is the child. So that we can ensure the learning of a child. Okay, so I think very important thing is to understand the context where the children are, whether the child has access to digital platforms or not. Okay, first of all, first important thing is to understand the accessibility of the digital mediums. And after understanding, okay, whether the child can understand, whether the child has that access or the caregivers has that access, whether, the child can afford the connectivity, the internet, or, a good connection or a smartphone and all those things. So I think, like those who can access, definitely they can be reached out to different mediums like, Zoom, WhatsApp, and TV, and other modalities. But those who do not have any access, I think it's very important to kind of explore the different modalities, offline modalities for them, so that they can also be reached out. Because we want to ensure that the learning of the children who do not have any access. So I think it's very important to identify the offline mediums. Like for example, the delivery of the printed materials can also be explored, where the children where the homes can be identified who do not have any access, and if we can deliver the materials, printed materials, storybooks, and the worksheets or the activity books or the activity ideas for the caregivers, there we can then we can reach out to them. Okay, apart from that, I can share one of the practices which is happening in many states in India, where the children who do not have any kind of access to digital resources or any any smartphone or any network connectivity, there the teachers are using the platforms conducting the small group meetings with the caregivers and the children, keeping in mind the social distancing norms. So they are doing those, so they are conducting small group meetings, maybe for 1 hour in a day, or half an hour in a day, where they talk about different the activities which caregivers can do. And the focus through these activities is to ensure that they build the capacities of the caregivers, so that the caregivers can conduct those activities. Okay, so so they are trying to reach out to the caregivers through through conducting group meetings. Also, one of the practice which is happening in Jharkhand, I got to know that they are identifying the neighborhoods where who have that access. ओके तो जैसे आस पड़ोस में अगर किसी के पास स्मार्टफोन का फैसिलिटी है, तो नेबरहुड के एक्सेस के उससे उनकी मदद से दे आर एंश्योरिंग कि बच्चे तक वो एक्टिविटीज पहुंचे. So they are sending recorded audios or recorded videos, not like the live classes. So they are they are sending those recorded activities to the children, ताकि बच्चे को तक वो पहुंचे और वो उनको देख कर वो एक्टिविटीज जो है केयरगिवर्स जो है अपने बच्चे के साथ करवा सकते. ओके, तो ऐसी जो है very important to identify such offline, modalities or options through which we can reach out to the children. And there's so many options, there's so many good practices happening at the ground level, which we really need to identify. And I really want to emphasize what, Kesar mentioned, that it's very important to start writing, because it's very important to document the good practices, because it's not going to help you only, it's also going to help others also, so that they can, learn from each other. So sharing of good practices, understanding that what is working in a particular context and what is not working. So when it works, it can also be scaled up to the another context. So it's very important to, identify such practices.
Yes. आपकी बातें सुन के मेरे दिमाग में आया जहाँ था है वहाँ रहा है. So even if people are not getting online access, अगर उनकी ये चाहत है सीखने की तो वो जरूर सीख सकेंगे. बहुत अलग अलग और भी तरीके हैं. मुझे ऐसा लगता है ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन एक बहुत ही अच्छा माध्यम है एजुकेशन के लिए. Obviously, there are a lot of challenges, and we're still struggling to make it more interesting and engaging like our physical classroom. But there are a lot of ways that we learned today from all of you. And now, I would like to ask our participants if they have any questions. They can write to us in the comments box. If we are not able to take it right now, because there is paucity of time, we'll definitely get back to you and respond it in the comments itself, or reach out to you. So, in the end, I would like to say, recently a Pune-based teacher became an internet sensation, and she gave a lot of positivity and hope to many. I think आप सबको ये याद होगा कि एक Facebook पे, सोशल मीडिया पे एक फोटो वायरल हुई थी जहाँ एक टीचर is teaching on the blackboard and her phone is hanging through different hangers on a chair. That teacher, when she posted that photo on her profile of her jugaad, she wrote, "My only motive was to create a classroom environment with interaction, and with board work, students find it fruitful." I think what she really tried to tell us is that online भी काफी हद तक offline जैसा हो सकता है. तो हमें ऑनलाइन एजुकेशन से घबराना नहीं है. It is very simple, and Meenakshi, Kesar, and Mosmi gave us some really amazing, doable, realistic ideas and strategies that we can use to make our online classes very, very interesting. I really love this quote, and I would like to quote it right now. Is that teaching is fun only when we think it's about teaching kids and not curriculum or not the medium through which we are teaching. So with that, I would like to thank Meenakshi, Kesar, and Mosmi for giving us your valuable time and sharing some insightful tips and tricks to make online teaching simple, engaging, meaningful, and fun. Thank you, the Crayon School, Best of Schools, Gulmohar Early Years, and Shikshanjali for helping us with this webinar. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a great day.
Thanks, Tanvi. Thank you.
Thank you.